Hello, I am Nurul Athar, PMP, CPHIMS and ITL certified. And welcome to CPHIMS exam preparation video. In this video, I will cover management. It comes under administration. Based on CPHIMS examination detailed content outline, CPHIMS aspirants are required to study following topics under management. Define roles, responsibilities and job descriptions for IT-related function. Second, assure staff competency in information and management system skills. Third, manage projects and portfolio of project. For example, initiate, plan, execute, control and close. Fourth, manage relationship with vendor, for example, contract, cost, schedule, support, maintenance, performance. Number 5, facilitate steering committee meeting and or topics. Number 6, assure adherence to industry best practice, for example, change control, project management. And number 7, maintain system, operational and departmental documentation. Number 8, provide customer service, for example, service level management, request tracking, problem resolution. And number 9, manage budget and financial risks. And number 10, manage customer relationship with business unit leaders. Okay. I will try to cover all these topics in the following section. What is management? Role and responsibilities for IT related function. Assure staff competencies, information and management system skill. Manage projects and project portfolio. Manage relationship with vendors. Facilitate steering committee meetings. Adherence to industry best practice and developing system, operational and departmental documentation. First, let's see what is the definition of management. Okay, healthcare management is the profession that provides leadership and direction to organizations that deliver personal health services and to division, department, unit or services within those organizations. Okay. Management principles address matters such as resource allocation, staffing, and initiating and directing ongoing department management. Okay. Now let's explore the next topic, roles and responsibilities for IT related function. Okay, these are the management roles and responsibilities for IT related function. Senior management roles and responsibilities, general IT roles and responsibilities, healthcare IT roles and responsibilities, and career in healthcare IT. Okay, let's explore first topic, senior management roles and responsibilities. Board of Directors, Executive Management and Medical Executive Committee support are essential for the success of IT in a healthcare organization. The Chief Information Officer, CIO, is generally the most senior level IT executive in many health systems. This role also carries the Vice President or Senior Vice President designation. Additional IT related leadership role can be included. Okay. Chief Medical Information Officer, CMIO, Chief Nursing Officer, CNO, Chief Technology Officer, CTO, and Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. New roles in healthcare system. Chief Innovation Officer, Chief Application Officer, and Chief Privacy Officers. Okay, healthcare analytics. Okay. Healthcare analytics is a term used to describe the healthcare analysis activities that can be undertaken as a result of data collected from 4 areas within healthcare: claims and cost data, pharmaceutical and research and development R&D data, clinical data collected from electronic medical record EHR, and patient behavior and sentiment data. Patient behavior and preference, retail purchases, for example, data captured in running stores. Healthcare analytics allows for the examination of pattern in various healthcare data in order to determine how clinical care can be improved while limiting excessive spending. Now let's see general IT roles and responsibilities. Healthcare organization IT departments are staffed with internal full-time employees, FTE, or outsourced staff that support traditional IT related roles. Job description for these roles are categorized as senior level, mid-level, and junior level. And typically include titles such as director, manager, architect, analyst, engineer, technician, administrator, programmer, and developer. Common areas that these roles are responsible for include applications, clinical business intelligence, data warehouse and database administrator, data center, directory services, help desk, IT security, mobile applications, servers, network and telecommunications, storage, system integrations, backup, messaging, collaboration, technical documentation, policies and procedure, virtualization, and websites. Now let's see healthcare IT roles and responsibilities. To meet the evolving technology demands of healthcare organization, particularly in light of increased usage of EHR, many clinical businesses and project related roles now require healthcare IT knowledge and blend of clinical management and technical experience. Some of the more in-demand clinical and business positions are analyst roles. These include specialty roles. These include specialty roles covering system support, administrative support, application supports, clinical system support, reports, finance, supply chain, human resource and payroll, revenue cycle, decision support, interfaces, and clinical and business intelligence. Other important healthcare IT roles have position in informatics, clinical engineering, go live events, implementation consulting, integration, project management, quality assurance, and usability. Now let's explore careers in healthcare IT. The U.S. Office of National Coordinator for Health Information Technology (ONC) identified 6 healthcare IT workforce roles that healthcare organizations will need to fill as they deploy EHR (Electronic Health Record System). These members of the workforce will support implementation at a specific location for a period of time, and when their work is done, will move to new location. Workers in these roles might be employed by regional extension center, providers, vendors, or state, local public health agencies, and would work together into teams Preparation for this set of roles will typically require 6 months of intense training for individuals with appropriate background. Okay, so now let's see 6 healthcare IT workforce roles. First is practice workflow information management redesign specialist, implementation manager, implementation support specialist, clinician, practitioner, consultant, software support technician, and trainer. Now we'll explore each one by one. Okay. General description, suggested background, and competencies. Okay. Workers in this role assist in recognizing the work of a provider to take full advantage of the feature of health IT in pursuit of meaningful use of health IT to improve health and care. Okay. Suggested background. Individual in this role may have as a practice administrator I'll read it again. Individual in this role may have background in healthcare, for example, as a practice administrator or in information technology, but are not licensed clinical professionals. Competencies. Okay, worker in this role will be able to document the workflow information management model of the practice, conduct user requirement analysis to facilitate workflow design. Okay, develop revised workflow and information management models for the practice-based and meaningful use of certified EHR product. Revised models will anticipate in implementation of general practice automation, for example, appointment scheduling, to the extent not yet implemented, to electronic documentation and result review, computerized provider order entry, and clinical decision support system (CDS). Health information actions to include sending of lab order and receipt of result using CPOE, quality improvement and reporting, and e-prescribing. Okay. Other electronic health record functionalities are required by the Stage 1 meaningful use definition for 2011 and its evolution into Stage 2 in 2013 and Stage 3 in 2015. Okay. As a practice, implement the EHR, work directly with practice personnel to implement the revised workflow and information management model. Working with the practice staff, develop a setup plan to keep the practice running if the EHR system fail. Okay. Now we'll see the implementation manager. General description, suggested background, and competencies. Okay. Workers in this role provide on-site management of mobile adoption support teams for period of time before and during implementation of health IT systems in clinical and public health settings. Okay. What background required for this position? Implementation manager. Workers in this role will, prior to training, have experience in health and or IT environment as well as some administrative or managerial experience. What competence is required? Okay. Workers in this role will be able to provide leadership ensuring that implementation teams consisting of workers in the role of or in the roles described above function cohesively. Apply project management and change management principle to create implementation project plan to achieve the project goal. Okay. Interact with diverse personnel to ensure open communication across the end users and with the support team. Lead okay. Lead implementation teams consisting of workers in roles and described above, and manage vendor relations, providing schedule, deliverable, and business information to health IT vendor for product improvement. Coordinate implementation related efforts across the implementation sites and with their health information exchange partners, troubleshooting problem as they arise. Apply to these activities in understanding of health IT, meaningful use, and challenges practice setting will encounter in achieving meaningful use. Now we'll move to the next, implementation support specialist. Let's see general description. Workers in this role provide on-site user support for a period of time before and during implementation of health IT systems in clinical and public health setting. These individuals will provide support services above and beyond what is provided by the vendor to be sure the technology functions properly and is configured to meet the needs of the redesigned practice workflow. Suggested background. Individual training of this role will have a general background in information technology or health information management. Competencies. Okay. Workers in this role will be able to execute implementation project plans by installing hardware as needed and configuring software to meet practice needs. Incorporate usability principle into the software configuration and implementation. Test the software against performance specification. Interact with the vendor as needed to rectify technical problems that occur during the deployment process. Proactively identify software or hardware incompatibilities. Assist the practice in identifying the data backup and recovery solution and ensure the solution is effective. Ensure that mechanism for hardware software recovery, for example data backup or redundant system, and related capabilities are appropriately implemented to minimize system downtime. Ensure that privacy and security functions are appropriately configured and activated in hardware and software. Document IT problems and evaluate the effectiveness of problem resolution, and assist end user with execution of audits. I will move to the next. Clinician practice consultant. Okay, we'll see general description. This role is similar to the practice workflow information management redesign specialist role listed above. In addition to that role set of competencies, this role brings to bear the background and experience of professional licensed to provide clinical care or public health professionals. Suggested background. Okay, individual in this role will be licensed clinical or public health professional, or in the case of public health, they would bring into the role significant experience in federal, state, or local public health agencies. Competencies. Okay. In addition to the activities noted above for the practice workflow information management redesign specialist role, worker in this role will be able to analyze and recommend solutions for health IT implementation problems in clinical and public health settings, bringing clinical expertise directly to bear. Advise and assist clinicians in taking full advantage of technology, enabling them to make best use of data in electronic forms, including data in registries, to drive improvement in the quality, safety, and efficiency of care. assist in selection of vendors and software by helping practice personnel to ask the right questions and evaluate the answer by answer answer they receive, advocate for users' needs, acting as a liaison between users, IT staffs, and vendors, ensure that the patient, consumer perspective incorporated into EHR deployments and that full attention is paid in the deployment to critical issues of patient privacy, and train practitioner in best use of EHR system conforming to redesign practice workflow. Now we'll see the software support technicians. General descriptions. Workers in this role will support on an ongoing basis the technology deployed in clinical and public health settings. Workers in this role maintain system in clinical and public health settings, include patching and upgrading of software. They also provide one-on-one support in a traditional helpdesk model to help individual users with questions or problems. Suggested background. Individual training for this role will have a general background in information technology or health information management. And what is competencies? Workers in this role will be able to interact with the end users to diagnose IT problem and implement solution, document IT problems and evaluate the effectiveness of the problem resolution, support system security and standards, assist end user with the execution of audits and related privacy and security functions, incorporate usability principle into ongoing software configuration and implementation, ensure that the hardware, software, failover and related capabilities are appropriately implemented to minimize system downtime. Ensure that privacy and security functions are appropriately configured and activated in hardware and software. Interact with the vendor as needed to rectify technical problems that occur during the deployment process. Work with the vendor and other sources of information to find the solution to a user's question or problem as needed. Now we see the trainers. General descriptions. Workers in this role design and deliver training programs using adult learning principle to employees in clinical and public health settings. What we'll see is what is suggested background. The previous background of workers in this role include experience as a health professional, health information management specialist or medical librarian. Experience as a trainer in the classroom is also desired. Competencies. Workers in this role will be able to use range of health IT application, preferably at an expert level, communicate clearly with both health and IT concept as appropriate in a language the user can understand. Apply a user-oriented approach to training, reflecting the needs to empathize the learner users. Assess training needs and competencies of learners. Accurately assess employees' understanding of training, particularly through observation of use both in and out of classroom. Design lesson plans, structure active learning experience for users, and creating use cases that effectively train employees through an approach that closely mirror actual use of the HIT in patient care settings. Maintain accurate record of training events and maintain accurate training records of the users and develop learning plan for further instruction. Now we'll move to the next topic. Assure staff competencies in information and management system skills. Employee development, job related IT certification. Employee development can be provided through training and in-service programs, certification classes, community college or university educational courses, conference and workshop, professional association involvement, and self-study through books, industry magazines, video and online resources. Okay. Organizational training and in-service programs. Human resource typically have responsibility for organization-wide training requirement. For example, security and safety regulation, discriminatory practice and quality involvement. Supervisory management and leadership development may be designed and offered by a leadership department within the organization or through human resource. The department or group in which an employee works provide programs such as in-service or online training. IT projects for information and management system deployment usually include a training budget for the system developers, administrators, and end users who will be supporting and using the product. Okay. Miscellaneous professional development. Okay. Professional development plan is created by manager working closely with the staff member to identify the necessary skills and resources to support the staff members' career goal and the organization business needs. I have taken this information from the following source. Professional development for staff members begin when a new member joins your team. In addition, all staff members should have a living professional development plan in place. Planning should not take place only after an staff member is identified as needing improvement. Professional development plans should be reviewed on an ongoing basis throughout the year, with at least one interim review discussion between the staff members and supervisor prior to the end of the yearly performance review period. Professional development planning steps. Okay. Step 1. Request a self-assessment from the staff member. When evaluating the staff members' responses, keep this question in mind. What skills, career opportunities, technologies interest the individual? Do those skills, interests, goals support the organization needs and goals? What are the short and long-term steps to get there? Okay. Step 2. Develop your assessment of the individual skills level based on the staff members' self-assessment, their work record, and your own observation, determining the staff members' skill level in the following categories. Technical skills, skills needed to get the job done. Social skills, how do they work with others? Aptitudes, natural talents, special abilities for doing or learning to do certain kind of things. And attitude, outlook, feeling, mindset, way of thinking and point of view. Okay. Now we see the step 3. Assess the department and organization's need. In order for professional development to be successful, the staff members' needs and interests must be applied to address organizational objective. The staff members' career path must align with the organization's workforce needs. In creating a professional development plan, consider the following goals. Big organization's goal, departmental goals, team goals, and individual goals. Step 4. Explore development opportunity with staff members. Explore the professional development opportunities available at organization with your staff members. Some examples include Okay. Healthcare IT conference and workshops. Programs is sponsored by national and local professional associations such as CAHIMS, university certificate programs, and bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree in healthcare IT. Informatics, information management, and information systems. And self or group study using books, industry magazines or journal, videos, and such online resources as white papers, webinar, conference, and training. Step 5. Record and analyze the staff members' progress. Collect feedback from the staff members about their development progress to assist in identifying what the staff member is doing well. Build on their skills, correct any problem that may arise, and help them develop new abilities that will improve personal performance as well as organizational outcome. Use performance log for tracking, recording, and providing feedback from the staff members. Record dates, events, expectation, and the impact of action steps on their development. Make sure to record. Okay. Okay. Observation of enhanced skills or knowledge and how they were applied. Progress towards goals and objective. Observation where skills knowledge could be applied, used for future discussion. Now we'll see performance evaluation. A comprehensive employee appraisal is often made up of several different methods of performance evaluation. You can choose to use just one evaluation process when judging an employee's performance, but when you use multiple evaluation methods, you are able to get a broader picture of the areas where the employee needs improvement and what recommendation on you should make to support employee development. Okay. Self-evaluation. The self-evaluation is often effective when teamed up with performance review. The employee is asked to judge his own performance by using a form that requires multiple choice answer, essay type answer, or a combination of the two. One of the benefits of self-evaluation is that a manager can compare the self-evaluation to manager's own appraisal and see the areas where there is a discrepancy and understanding of the employee's performance. This opens up conversation between manager and the employee that can be beneficial to employee development. 360 evaluation. An employee's development consists of progress made within his own department and the effectiveness of his interacting with the rest of the company. A 360-degree performance evaluation is one of that involves input from managers in other departments that employees work with on regular basis. Employees are evaluated on their effectiveness within their own department based on their job description, and they are also evaluated based on how effectively they work with the rest of the company. Graphic scale. The employee's performance in various areas of her job duties is graded on a scale. The value in graphic evaluation system is that it allows manager to compare the performance of several employees simultaneously. The system can be done with number or letters, and it usually consists of a range running from poor to excellent. Checklist. The checklist evaluation method is simplistic but effective. Sorry, I will read it again. Checklist evaluation method is simplistic but effective. It consists a series of performance questions that are traditionally given the option of yes or no according to the online educational resources, open learning world. An excessive number of negative responses indicate developmental training is needed. for that employee. The checklist can be used as a quick way to identify employees that have deficiencies in too many performance areas. Critical incident. A proactive manager keeps on ongoing log throughout the years of an employee's performance and then use that information to fuel discussion during the employee's performance review. This method of keeping a list of good and bad incident of employees' performance is known as critical incident evaluation. Okay. During the performance appraisal process, it is important for the manager to provide feedback to employee at regular intervals during the years. Employees should never be surprised during a formal appraisal that they were found to be performing at a less than adequate level. In addition, it gives them an opportunity to improve performance. Alternatively, if an employee is performing at an exceptional level, the interim positive feedback will help to preserve that positive behavior. Although interim reviews can be done formally or informally, it is advisable to complete a formal written interim review if an employee's performance requires improvement. When disciplinary action is needed, it must be taken based on the clear fact and with the documented justification. If disciplinary action is needed, it should be done progressively over time, starting with verbal discussion, then utilizing written and verbal communication, and possibly ending with termination. This approach provides consistent communication to the employee about what needs to be done to resolve the problem. Communication may be oral or at first. If the problem persists, documentation should be completed in form of notes to the employee's personal records and written warning with substantive examples of the inadequate performance. At all steps during the process, it is advisable to communicate with and seek the advice from the Human Resource Department. Now we'll move to the next. Managing projects and project portfolio. Another major role of IT professional is project management. Project management methodology is used in healthcare organizations to successfully implement new and complex IT systems. Okay. Project management. Project management is the applications of process, method, knowledge, skills, and experience to achieve the project objective. The core component of project management are defining the reason why the project is necessary, capturing project requirement, specifying quality of the deliverables, estimating resources and time scales, preparing business case to justify the investment, securing corporate agreement funding, developing and implementing a management plan for the project, leading and motivating the project delivery team, managing the risk, issues, and changes on the project, monitoring progress against plan, managing the project budget, maintaining communication with stakeholder and the project organization, closing the project in controlled fashion when appropriate. What is a project organization? Okay. A project organization is a structure that facilitates the coordination and implementation of project activities. Its main reason is to create an environment that fosters interaction among the team members with minimum amount of disruption, overlaps, and conflict. Okay. Project organizational structure type. Okay, organizational structure type: functional organization, weak matrix, balanced matrix, strong matrix, and projectize. Okay, project manager's authority in functional organizational structure is little or none. Resource availability, little or none. Who control the project budget? Functional manager. Project manager's role, part-time. Project management administrative staff, part-time. In weak matrix organizational structure, project manager's authority limited, resource availability limited. Who control the project budget? Functional manager. Project manager's role is a part-time. Project management administrative staff is part-time. Balanced matrix. Project manager authority, low to moderate. Resource availability, low to moderate. Who control the project budget? Mixed. Project manager's role, full-time, and project management administrative staff, part-time. Strong matrix. Okay. Project manager's authority, moderate to high. Resource availability, moderate to high. Who control the project budget? Project manager. Project manager's role, full-time, and project management administrative staff is full-time. Now we'll see the projectized organization. Project manager's authority, high to almost total. Resource availability, high to almost total. Who control the project budget? Project managers. Project manager's role is full-time, and project management administrative staff full-time under projectized organization. Now we'll see the functional organization. A functional organizational structure is a hierarchical organizational structure where people are grouped as their area of specialization. These pupils are supervised by a functional manager with expertise in the same field. Okay. This organizational structure represent functional organization. See, there are manager and functional manager, and under particular staffs are working under each manager, functional managers. Okay. Now we'll see the projectized. Okay. Organizational structure in which the project manager has full authority to assign, prioritize, apply resources, and direct the work of person assigned to the project. Okay. This organizational structure, okay, shows projectized organization. There is a project manager, and staffs are working directly under this project manager. Okay. Software developer, software tester is working under this project manager. This software developer and software tester working under this project manager, and project manager report to chief executive officers. Now we'll see the matrix organization. Okay. According to the PMBOK guide, matrix organization is the blend of projectized and functional organizational structure. A matrix organizational structure is a company structure in which the reporting relationship are set up as a grid or matrix rather than in the traditional hierarchy. In other words, employees have dual reporting relationship, generally to both functional manager and product manager. Okay. This organizational structure, okay, shows about matrix organization. Okay. See, there is a project manager, and staffs are working under him and from different organization. Okay, different functional managers. Okay. Okay. Project, program, and portfolio management. Okay. This diagram represents what is project, program, and portfolio management. Project portfolio management, PPM, having the right resources at right time on the right projects in order to achieve organizational goals and targets. This is the responsibility of project portfolio management. Okay. Portfolio management, evaluation, prioritization, selection and budgeting of investment, initiative, project assets, people that provide the highest contribution to the strategy include ongoing monitoring of investment to measure return. Okay, do the right things. Program management, coordinated management of groups of projects. Okay, and project management, initiating, planning, executing and closing project while optimizing use of resource, time, money, people. Okay, now let's see what is enterprise project portfolio management. Okay, enterprise project portfolio management, EPPM, is the practice of taking a top-down approach to manage all project intensive work and resource across the enterprise. Manage relationship with vendors. More and more IT professionals must be efficient and effective in managing third-party service providers. I have taken this information from following source. Okay, this diagram represents vendor management life cycle. Okay, plan and acquire, develop RFP, request for proposal development, vendors selection, contracting and SLA, onboarding, deploy, create successful launch, performance management, relationship management, okay, multi-vendor management, manage, monitor, measure and manage to optimize delivery and value, and renew or replace contract extension. Okay. The model for successfully managing vendor partnership consists of following steps. Process evaluation, in-sources versus outsources, vendor selection, contract development and negotiation, managing the working relationship, evaluating the result. Let's explore each one by one. Process evaluation. The first step is to make sure you understand the business process that you are considering outsourcing. A close look at business process totally. Okay, a close look at business process today will very often reveal cross-departmental processes that are fragmented, unmeasured, unmanaged, and disconnected. There is absolutely no use in outsourcing these. To profit and receive the benefits of outsourcing, you need a true understanding of your process, their outputs, and their end-to-end costs. This will then allow you to develop meaningful and appropriate performance metrics. This is critical ingredient that allow you to establish a shared understanding with your vendor about performance and management expectation. Now let's go to step 2. In-source versus outsource. Once you understand the process, you can now objectively evaluate which one are candidate for outsourcing. Some consideration to keep in mind when making this decision are to evaluate whether a process is a core to competitive strategy or non-core. Keep in mind, however, that this can become very subjective. A stronger approach is to focus on areas in which you develop the most specialized skills and to keep those in house, paying particular attention to the industry in which you are operating. No matter which criteria you use, never make the decision to outsource lightly, because once it's done, it can be very time consuming and costly endeavor to bring something back in house. Step 3: Vendor selection. The days of selecting vendor on cost alone are over. There are several other considerations. One that is often overlooked is the cultural fit between the organization. Some items to keep in mind when evaluating cultural compatibility include time orientation, organization structure, decision making process, rate of change, and the age of the workforce. Key question to ask when selecting your vendor include: does the provider have experience with the work you want it to do? Have its staff worked in an environment similar to yours? Is it financially stable? Does it have standardized processes? Can it provide economies of scale? Has it been sued by previous client? You and your team should meet with the vendor's representative, the people you will be interacting with on regular basis. Don't just speak with vendors, salespeople. Get the process owner involved early. What does process mean? A series of action or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. Okay. Patient admission process. This diagram represents patient admission process. Patient apply for admission, wait for admission calls, patient admission, treatment process, patient served. Okay. What does the process owner mean? A process owner is responsible for managing and overseeing the objectives and performance of process through key performance indicator KPI. A process owner has the authority to make required change related to achieving process objective. Okay. This diagram represents process owners. He is managing all the process running under various different departments. Okay. Worries about overall process health, has responsibility and authority to manage and improve a process. A champion. Okay. The role of process owner: take ownership of the project when it's complete, is responsible for maintaining the project gains, remove barriers for lean project teams, support the project team, for example, make resources available, maintain the countermeasure and ensure that they are active and compliant, participate in lean project reviews. Okay. Now we'll see the management structure for process. Okay. This diagram represents management structure for processes. Okay. Process council. This process council monitor overall process performance and approves process changes. Process owners. These process owners need to be assigned to each processes. These are senior leaders responsible for guiding and assessing the performance of the process. and process team and process team process team and process performer. Process team and process team leaders are critical to support each specific process. Now we'll move to the fourth step, contract development and negotiation. A team mentality must be brought to the contract development and negotiation phase. In too many companies, outsourcing contracts are left to purchasing, legal and senior executives, and then thrown to the managers and staff who will be working with the vendor on a day-to-day basis. Operational staff and process owners should be involved early, not after the contract is signed. These employees will provide valuable input into items such as measuring performance and ensuring nothing is overlooked or omitted that is critical from an operational perspective. When creating the contract, make sure there are clearly outlined roles for the vendor and your staff, flexibility to negotiate under certain conditions, and control over the workforce. Contract types. Okay. This diagram represents various types of contract types. Okay. Cost plus percentage of cost. Okay. Cost plus fixed fee, cost plus award fee, cost plus incentive fee, time and material, fixed price, economics, okay, price adjustment, okay, economic price adjustment, fixed price incentive fee, and fixed price. Okay. Fixed price contracts. A fixed price contract is also known as lump sum contract. This type of contract is used when there is no uncertainty in the scope of work. Once the contract is signed, the seller is contractually bound to complete the task within the agreed amount of money and or time. Due to the nature of the contract, the seller bears the majority of the risk, as the most provide for the completion of the work as stipulated in the contract. Okay. Fixed price contract can be further divided into three categories. Firm fixed price contract, fixed price incentive fee contract, and fixed price with economic price adjustment contract. Okay. This is the simplest type of procurement contract. In this type of contract, the fee is fixed. The seller has to complete the job within an agreed amount of money and time. Any cost of increase due to bad performance of the seller will be the responsibility of the seller, who is contractually bound to complete the job within the agreed amount. For example, the seller has to complete the job for $100,000 within 18 months. Since the risk is borne by the seller, the cost tends to be higher. Another drawback of a firm fixed price contract is possible dispute between the buyer and the seller if the scope is not clear. Moreover, any deviation from the original scope can cost you a lot. Okay, now we'll see the fixed price incentive fee contract. In this type of contract, although the price is fixed, the seller is given an additional incentive based on his performance. This incentive lowers the risk borne by the seller. The incentive can be tied to any project matrix such as cost, time, or technical performance. Example, $10,000 will be paid to contractor as an incentive if we complete the work before 2 months. Fixed price with economic price adjustment contract. If the contract is multi-year long, a fixed price with economic price adjustment contract is used. Here you include a special provision in a clause which protect the seller from inflation. Example, about 3% of the cost of the project will be increased after a certain time duration based on the consumer price index. Cost reimbursable contract. Okay. This contract is also known as cost disbursable contract. In this type of contract, the seller is reimbursed for completed work plus a fee representing his profit. Sometimes this will be paid if the seller meets or exceeds the selected project objective. For example, completing the task before the time or completing the task with less cost. A cost reimbursable contract is used when there is uncertainty in the scope or the risk is higher. In this contract, since the buyer pays for all the cost, he bears the risk. A cost reimbursable contract is used when there is uncertainty in the scope or the risk is higher. In this context, since the buyer pays for all the costs, he bears the risk. Scope creep is an inherent drawback of a cost reimbursable contract, especially when the requirements are unclear. The seller will always try to alleviate the cost because it will be tied to some sort of fee or reimbursement. This difficulty can be minimized with proper management of the contract and capping the seller's profit, for example 10% of total cost. Cost reimbursable contract can be further divided into 4 categories. Cost plus fixed fee contract, cost plus incentive fee contract, cost plus award fee, and cost plus percentage of cost. Now let's see cost plus fixed fee contract, CPFF. In this type of contract, the seller is paid for all incurred costs plus a fixed fee which will not change regardless of his performance. Here the buyer bears the risk. The type of contract is used in a project where the risk is high and no one is interested in bidding. Therefore, this type of contract is selected to keep the seller safe from risk. Example, total cost plus 25,000 US dollar as a fee. Now let's see cost plus incentive fee contract, CPIF. In cost plus incentive fee contract, the seller will be reimbursed for all the cost plus an incentive fee based upon achieving certain performance objectives mentioned in the contract. This incentive will be calculated using an agreed on a predetermined formula. Here the risk also lies with the buyer. However, this risk is lower than the cost plus fixed fee, where the buyer has to pay a fixed fee along with the cost incurred. In cost plus incentive fee contract, the incentive is motivating factor for the seller. If the seller is able to complete the work with less cost or before the time, he may get some incentive. Most of the time, the incentive is percentage of the saving, which is shared by buyer and the seller. Example, if the project is completed with under budget, 25% of the remaining fund will be given to seller. Cost plus award fee. Here the seller is paid for all his legitimate cost plus some award fee. This award fee will be based on achieving satisfaction according to certain performance objectives described in the contract. The evaluation of the performance is subjective matter and you cannot appeal it. Example, if the seller completes the tasks meeting or exceeding all quality standards based on his performance, he may be given award of 10,000 US dollar. Cost plus percentage of cost. Cost plus percentage of cost, CPPC. Here the seller is paid for all the costs incurred plus a percentage of this cost. This type of contract is not preferred by the buyer because the seller might artificially increase the cost to earn a higher profit. Example, total cost plus 15% of cost as a fee to the contractor. Time and material contract. This is a hybrid contract of fixed price and cost reimbursable contracts. Here the risk is distributed to both parties. A time and material types of contract is generally used when the deliverable is labor hours. In this type of contract, the project manager or the organization will provide the required qualification or experience to the contractor who is responsible for providing the staff. This type of contract is used to hire some expert or, or any outside support. Here the buyer can specify the hourly rate for the labor with not to exceed limit. For example, technician will be paid $20 per hour. Now we'll move to the next. Step 5. Managing the working relationship. The contract is now signed and it's time to build a collaborative partnership with the vendor. Do this by communicating with the vendor about the company goals and process strategy. Don't keep vendors in the dark. Create structures for the supplier to interact directly with internal clients. Motivate the vendor by promoting with rewards and incentives, and make sure you have gained commitment from your internal staff. The job of managing vendor never ends. It is an ongoing process that includes monitoring the process, tracking the metrics, capturing result, measuring performance, and measuring feedback. Now evaluating the result. Okay, step 6, evaluating the result. With all the information you gather, you will be able to evaluate the regular basis whether you should continue outsourcing a relationship to a vendor. Okay, the decision to change vendor or even bring a function or process back in-house is costly and one not be taken lightly. The continuous evaluation of result will allow you maximize the return on investment from your vendor partnerships. Now we'll see the facilitating steering committee meetings. I have taken this information from the following source. Okay. Steering committee basics. Establishing steering committee meetings. How can the project manager and sponsor ensure meetings are well run and effective? Should we appoint a committee facilitator? Ideas on how to engage your steering committee. Let's explore this topic one by one. Steering committee basics. Okay. What is a steering committee? A project steering committee is responsible for the business issues associated with the project that are essential to ensuring the delivery of project outputs and attainment of project outcomes. When is the steering committee selected? A steering committee should be selected at the beginning of a project, usually in pre-initiation stage. In general, the steering committee is a senior management team that guides and is accountable for the project and gain management commitment. How to determine if a steering committee is needed? Not all projects require a steering committee. A steering committee is highly recommended for projects that have the following attributes. A high dollar amount, cost 1 million or more, a long duration, more than 6 months, a high complex and or multiple organizational unit participants, goes across multiple department or business units, Its changes in business practice or business process. It encompasses sensitive areas that necessitate communication at senior management level. It involves third-party software. It uses outside consultant in project management role. A steering committee is required on any project designed as a major project. Okay. Now let's see. Who should serve the steering committee? The steering committee benefits from a mix of executive leaderships and practitioner or industry discipline leaders, a balance of hands-on experience and change agents, those who are in position to bring about institutional changes, is also indicative of a strong steering committee. The membership is determined by the project sponsor and may consist of project sponsor, who should always be a member and may chair the meeting, business process owner, representative with project management governance expertise, representative from selected key stakeholders, expert from within the agency, external independent representatives such as specialists, consultant, or representative from other agencies. What is the project manager's role in relation to steering committee? The project manager is not member of the steering committee but is essentially contracted by the steering committee to ensure the work of the project is undertaken as agreed. In contrast, the steering committee provides support, guidance, and executive oversighting of the progress. The project manager normally attends meetings of the steering committee to report on project progress and answer any questions raised by members, and additional resources such as a project team members or administrative staff, okay, may assist the steering committee by recording the decision of the meeting. Must have attribute for potential steering committee members. Okay. Ensuring that the right disposition of a steering committee member is selected is critical to project success. Potential members must have a known vested interest in making the project and the committee a success, be motivated for the project to succeed, be willing to participate as a committee member and agree to the committee's goal and expectation, have the authority to make decisions on behalf of their constituents and authority over the project team itself, be willing to able to work with other committees members, be able to perform the roles and fulfill responsibilities of the committee, represent project constituent, have a clear line of authority over project team. Additionally, individual steering committee members provide support and guidance for those who directly manage the project and therefore should understand the strategic implication and outcome of the initiatives being pursued, appreciate the significance of project to stakeholders and represent their interests, be genuinely interested in initiative and the outcome being pursued, be an advocate for the project's outcome, have a broad understanding of project management issues and the approach being used. Okay. How big should the committee be? Ideally, a steering committee is made up of 3 to 6 people, but may be larger in order to obtain buy-in or have the appropriate coalition of a sponsor. Okay. A small group, say up to 5, comprised of relatively senior people, can make strategic decisions, give strategic advice, and also give the project influencing among the intent users. However, the small membership may not give the steering group breadth of experience and perspective, and busy senior staff may not be able to give enough time. A large group, say up to 10, is manageable When the meeting is very organized and structured, a large group can obviously include greater range of members, thus tapping into a wider range of experience. However, a large group can sometimes lose its effectiveness because of size and meeting are more difficult to arrange and conduct. Now let's see the next. How can the PM help steering committee members fulfill their roles? Make clear to members what their likely to responsibilities and time commitment will be. Include external representative to allow different perspective. Set a performance indicator for the group as well as the project. Ensure clarity of the both individual and group roles. Produce minutes that include clear action list and showing who will take each action. Create time for debate of the issues in the meeting. Issue the agendas. Issue agenda at least a week before meeting to allow the member sufficient preparation time. Meet as regularly as necessary to keep abreast of progress of the project. Okay, now we'll move to the next topic, establishing a steering committee meeting. What should the project manager and sponsor consider when planning steering committee meetings? A steering committee meeting should be well organized and should have a clear outcome established prior to meeting. The following steps should be followed when establishing steering committee meetings. Determine who is running the meeting. Establish an initial kickoff meeting. Establish regular meetings. Provide materials and on timely basis. Follow up promptly. Okay. Let's explore each one by one. Determine who is running the meetings. This can be one of the most important decisions when establishing the steering committee meeting and should be considered carefully. The sponsor and the project manager should determine this at the beginning of the project. When selecting who will be running the meetings, use common sense. Okay. The level in organization of the person running the meeting should match appropriately to steering committee members. There is not a concrete rule for determining the level of a person running the meeting. In some cases, a manager or directly may be the most appropriate to run these meetings. Okay, sorry, I will read it again. In some cases, manager or director may be the most appropriate to run these meetings. The person running the meeting should be capable of running a well-organized and effective meeting and should be able to handle difficult questions posed during meetings. If the steering committee is composed mostly of business personnel, the person with whom they are most used to interacting with, for example, a sponsor, should run the meeting. Establish an initial kickoff meeting. An initial kickoff meeting should be held to give an overview of the project to date and to explain expectation and purpose of the committee. The meeting should be well organized and should have a clear objective. Depending on the point in the project in which this kickoff meeting is being conducted, some of the information normally shared may be premature. Use common sense. Establish regular meetings. For long-running projects, 6 months or more, every 2 weeks or once per month is generally a good frequency. Project organizational or logistical factors may dictate a more or less frequent occurrence. These meetings should be scheduled as far ahead as possible and should be kept at fairly regular frequency. Seek concurrence from the committee membership on frequency and standing meeting dates and time. Provide material on timely basis. The step is imperative to allow the committee members an opportunity to prepare for the meeting so that their time is best used. The agenda should be sent to the steering committee members several days prior to the meeting taking place to allow them to prepare for the meeting. Request changes or add any new agenda item. The information contained in agenda should be briefed and succinct. Committee's members should be able to determine from the agenda the level of analysis required of any attached documentation. This helps committee members know what material to review and what level, understanding the issues to be discussed and make informed decision. Follow up promptly. Within a week of the meeting, a copy of minutes of meeting should be circulated to all members. This is for more effective in ensuring that the minutes accurately reflect the decision and discussion of the meeting. Members are more readily able to recall what was discussed at the time and ensure that any important issues or comments raised during the meeting have not been inadvertently overlooked. Project sponsor may meet with the project manager on more frequent basis. The steering committee can expect project manager to objectively report to them on the status of project, including any problem or issues that require their direction. Now let's move to the next topic. How can the PM and the sponsor ensure the meetings are well run and effective? The following pointers would be considered when preparing for steering committee meetings. Scheduling consideration, meeting structure, meeting preparation, presentation issues or risk, and meeting follows up. Scheduling consideration. Find the best way to schedule meetings with the invitees. Ensure that key members of the committee can make the meeting before setting up them. Set up the meeting for the reminder of the project that at the beginning in order to get on people's schedule as far in advance as possible. Use the Outlook calendar tools so that meeting can be changed and invitees will be notified of the change. Attempt to keep the meeting on their original date and time. Unforeseen events may require a change, but this should be the exception. Have the sponsors send out an email or other communication expressing the importance of attending this meeting. Meeting structure. Start and end meeting on time. Have an agenda for every meeting as well as thought out objective for the meeting. Start a meeting by stating the key points you would be accomplished with the steering committee meeting. Check those objectives at the end of the meeting to ensure they were accomplished. Allow adequate time in meeting agendas to cover all topics and allow for question and discussion. Meeting preparation. Okay. Create a formal presentation that is concise, well organized and polished. Arrive in meeting room ahead of time. Ensure all material and equipment are present and in working order. Make necessary copies well in advance of meeting. Don't assume members will bring copies or want to take notes electronically. Conduct a pre-meeting with the project manager and sponsor to ensure project leadership is in agreement on the purpose and content of the presentation. If more than one person is presenting, practice ahead of time. Prepare the sponsor and other appropriate steering committee members ahead of time if there are critical project issues. Presenting issues or risks. Okay. When presenting issues for which you want resolution or suggestion from the steering committee, do as much pre-work as possible and walk the group through issues clearly and concisely. Have a very clear process for leading the group to an answer if you want to resolve the issue in the meeting. Think through possible suggestions or resolution to an issue before presenting it to the steering committee. Clearly explain the impact that the issue or risk has on the project until it is resolved. If the issues cannot be resolved within a steering committee meeting itself, explain the date in the project schedule at which the issues must be resolved in order for the project to stay on track. Only raise issues in steering committee that the steering committee would care about. If there are internal project issues that don't affect the overall outcome of the project, don't burden the steering committee with that information. If you have controversial or complicated issues to discuss, do some pre-meeting discussion of the issues with key members of the steering committee before the meeting. This will enable you to get through issues much easier. Follow-up. Meeting follow-ups. Use whiteboard or flip chart to note parking lots items. Document follow-up items throughout the meeting and allow time at the end to assign an owner and due date to all follow-up items. Send out follow-up notes on the Send out follow-up notes on the meeting to steering committee members, highlighting key follow-up action items. This should be clear and concise. Generally, a quick email is the best way to ensure that these notes are read. Okay, now let's move to next topic. Should we appoint a committee facilitator? A facilitator is there to make it easier for the whole group to reach its goal, not to direct what those goals should be, and can do a lot to help a meeting run smoothly. A facilitator may be a member of the project team or support personnel for the sponsor business unit. Duties of the facilitator may include the following. Okay. Housekeeping, facilitating the meeting and other points to consider. Housekeeping. Make sure everyone knows the time and the place of the meeting. Send out the agenda, minutes of last meetings and any report in plenty of time for everyone to have read them. Checking the meeting place is warm, quiet and comfortable with enough seats for everyone. Seeing that drinks or other refreshment are available. Think about these agendas and trying to be aware that issues there might be a disagreement over, so as to prepare to help the chair guide the discussion smoothly. Facilitating meetings. Welcome new members or visitors, asking people to introduce themselves, making sure that everyone has agendas and minutes of the last meeting. If not, the responsibility of the chair explaining the agenda, saying which item are for the discussion, which for decision. Asking if there are any other items which need to be discussed. Other points to consider. The chair and facilitator authorities should come from the fact that the agenda is the contract which exists between all members. This is what they have agreed to discuss at the meeting. Allow people to differ and add items during the meeting, okay, to an access, okay, to prevent the meeting from getting through what has been agreed. Okay, ideas on how to engage your steering committee. Many projects find it difficult to involve members of the steering committee between meetings, as often types of the people who are members have very busy schedule and have little time to commit to the project itself apart from attending the actual meetings. Some example of how to keep your steering committee members actively involved in the project are as follows. Okay. think about including the steering committee members at the RFP writing stage. Engage their help in writing the RFP request for proposal so that they have ownership of the ideas. Make steering committee members feel valued. It is a privilege to be on the steering group and their contribution will be invaluable. Remind them that they are the cutting edge of project developments. Ask steering committee members to read important articles and provide the project team with feedback. If you are producing deliverables such as publication, ask the steering committee members to view a draft copy and provide feedback. Ensure that steering committee members take an active role at any events that you run in order that they identify with the project and keep up to date with new development. Now let's move to the next topic, adherence to industry best practice. I have taken this information from the following source. Research shows that successful IT organizations possess the following 6 key characteristics. Senior management supports information technology. Information technology is an important consideration but does not drive the organization's operational strategy. Information technology department understands the operation of its customers. The information technology department and its customer work together as a partners. The information technology department has a sound rationale for project priorities. The information technology department demonstrates leadership. 5 areas of information technology governance. Information technology governance is a framework for implementing policies, business process, and internal control to effectively support all the services that an IT department provides. Okay. The following best practices are divided among 5 governance focus areas: strategic IT alignment, value delivery, risk management, resource management, and performance management. Okay. Strategic IT alignment. Strategic IT alignment ensures that IT services and investment meet business objectives that are outcome of strategic planning. Information technologies align when IT management allocates resources and undertake projects in coordination with organization strategic plans and business objectives. Best practices. Okay. Use an IT advisory board to oversee the IT strategy and policy decision. Position the IT director as a strategist who resolves business issues with information technology. Ensure that IT customers service manager possess excellent communication and interpersonal skills. Inform organization manager on the rationale behind IT policies and of emerging technologies. Monitor and report the progress of the IT strategic plan. Okay. Value delivery. The IT department demonstrates value to the organization when it completes project as specified on time and within budget. The IT department also delivers value by meeting customer expectations for basic IT services such as email and internet access. To deliver value, IT expenditure and the return on IT investment need to be managed and evaluated. Okay, now we'll see the best practices. Okay, focus on optimizing organization business strategies and IT investment. Wherever possible, standardize common application across organization and use off-the-shelf software. Standardized applications create economies of scale because the cost for maintenance, software update, training, and custom programming requests are shared among organizations and knowledge base are broadened. Off-the-shelf software require uh, minimal programming maintenance, which free technical staff to support and develop the necessary customized applications. Use consistent methodical processes when consolidating or re-engineering system or services. Make the help desk effectiveness of priority. Since the help desk is often the first contact point between the IT and the customer, it is important that help desk is responsive to customers' needs. The help desk effectiveness and responsiveness build trust between IT and the customer. Referral of help desk call to analysts for additional help should be minimized, which means that help desk staff need to have high level skills in all systems within the organization. Okay. Ensure that IT cost and cost recovery methods are transparent and clearly communicated. Use project management, change management, and project review process. Many control techniques exist to keep project on time, on budget, and as is specified. This technique includes project charters, business case requirement, Gantt chart, scope change request. Change and patch management control make the process for planned changes rigorous and visible and reduce the risk that unplanned or untested change will be made to live system. Quality assurance. Quality assurance provides independent verification that IT staff follows its procedure and that top management is informed of project progress. Okay. Consider service level agreement SLA, a formal contract between the IT department and the organization and report on performance metrics is specified in the SLA. Service level agreement, performance agreement are key to effective management of IT resources and good customer relationship. Good SLA is service level agreement. Okay, is a balance. Okay, sorry. Good SLAs balance customer need with IT department's capabilities and customer expectation with IT department's commitment. A service level management SLM process should monitor customer satisfaction with services and monitor IT performance in the service level categories. Okay. Best practice for SLA include limited technical jargons and services expressed in business terms, definition of terminology, formal approval from all parties, clear service level objective, for example, availability, reliability, performance, and corresponding measure, non-performance clause, defining consequence of unfulfilled commitment, for example, warning, escalation procedures, financial penalties, limitation and customer responsibilities. Best practice for service management include designing a service level manager. Okay, sorry. Designating a service level manager who is responsible for monitoring and reporting on the status and achievement of the SLA performance criteria, conducting service level satisfaction surveys to expose customer perception of performance, continuously evaluating SLA to ensure the alignment of IT and organization objectives. Now we'll see the risk management. Internal controls and policies enable the IT department to assess, control many risks related to IT projects. Best practices. Apply principles found in IT best practice guide. Use policies, procedures, and clear authorities to manage change. Clearly define the scope of an enterprise resource planning system. Let's explore first. Apply principle found in IT best practice guides. Okay. Governance, best practice, and operation control help IT align IT and organization strategies and allow the IT department and organization to measure, process, and to control risk. Okay. COBIT, control objectives for information and related technologies. Okay. Is an IT governance framework and supporting toolset that allows manager to bridge the gap between control requirement, technical issues, and business risks. COBIT enable clear policy development and good practice for IT control throughout organization. COBIT emphasize regulatory compliance, help organizations to increase the value attained from IT, and enable alignment and simplify implementation of enterprise IT governance and control framework. ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, focus on methods that IT management can employ to achieve many of the goals outlined in COBIT. GTAG, the Global Technology Audit Guide, is directed at board of directors, audit directors, and advisory committees and provide an overview of selected information technology topics. Okay. The COBIT and ITIL framework are very comprehensive and may take years to incorporate into an organization. Okay. Experts recommend an incremental approach to implement this framework, which include build support of executive management, the IT advisory council, and IT staff, identify major weakness in the IT organization and selecting concepts from each COBIT and ITIL that address those weaknesses, selecting only those concepts that fit the IT department, implementing the concept and methods by starting with the elements that have the greatest ease and or potential for success. Use policies, procedures, and clear authorities to manage change. Any change from software modification to unplanned departure of key staff can cause disruption. Policies, procedure, and clearly defined authorities can help mitigate the risk associated with this disruption. The IT organization should prioritize the development of change management policies and procedures using risk assessment to identify key weaknesses, recurring problems, and areas where losses can be high. Exploring future change in technologies and business needs will help IT department prepare for future risks. Clearly define the scope of enterprise resource planning system. Okay. An ERP system integrates many departments and functions across an organization onto a single system that aims to serve many diverse needs. There are many best practices for design and implementation of ERP system. Some key considerations are: okay, ERP projects should be driven and managed by organizations who own the application that are to be migrated. In addition to the high cost of ERP software, other hidden costs should be considered, such as data conversion, training, integration with other systems, and business processes. Business processes need to be clearly defined and understood before implementing. And ERP processes that need major re-engineering at risk if the configured into ERP. Only business processes that optimize business performance should be configured into ERP. Much consideration should be given to control that maintain data integrity and data security because many users have accessed the system. Okay, now move to the resource management. The IT department needs to manage its resources to optimize resource value. Staff, customer, vendors, hardware, software, and relationships are resources that need to be managed. Best practices: develop a strong develop a strong and broad staff competencies, manage computing assets, and recognize the customer as an important resource. Assessing the skills and knowledge of IT staff regularly ensure that skills levels are adequate to achieve the organization goals and objectives. Cross-training opportunities and annual training plans should be built into annual performance evaluation. In addition to technology skills, IT staff should be trained in business, operation knowledge, and communication skills. Staffing level and skills should also be evaluated after major organizational changes. Customer evaluation of customers service staff should be given strong consideration in performance appraisal. Manage computing assets. Effectively managing IT assets require an accurately inventory of computing hardware, systems, license and application. Asset management should be addressed in the investment and operational budgets and should be based on clear understanding of technology and application software life cycle. Recognize customer as an important resources. Clear communication with IT customers allows the IT department to predict demand for services and receive input on possible improvement to process. Customer service satisfaction surveys and customer input are important tools for evaluating IT staff performance and identifying underperforming process and staffs. Performance measurement. Okay. Performance measurement demonstrates how well the IT department accomplishes its objective and identifies underperforming areas. Performance measurement allows for continual organizational improvement. Okay. Measure performance and use the results to initiate improvement and change. Measure performance and use the result to initiate improvement and change. The IT director can use performance measure to build credibility and shows organization that IT delivers results and improve business processes. Performance measure can also indicate areas that need improvement. Measures should focus on business outcomes such as service level, performance targets, and customer satisfaction. Performance results need to be readily accessible to IT management and reported to customer and the governing council. Good IT performance measure are developed with input from external partner, internal staff, and customer. Show the value of service delivered or a system implemented and de-emphasize system performance statistic. Focus on quality, process, functionality, and timelines. Measure customer satisfaction are reported to customers. IT staffs and executive management have associated targets or goal are expressed in percentages that indicate result or accomplishment rather than in raw number of work performed. For example, the percentage of all new development projects that were delivered on time is more meaningful than the number of new development projects undertaken. Okay. Here is the list of IT best practices I have explained above. Okay. Number 1. Use an IT advisory board to oversee IT strategy and policy decision. 2. Base IT decision on organization strategic plan. Number 3. Position IT director as a strategist who resolve business issues with the information technology. Number 4. Ensure that IT customer service manager possesses excellent communication and interpersonal skills. Number 5. Inform organization manager on the rationale behind IT policies and of emerging technologies. Number 6, monitor and report the progress of IT strategic plan. Number 7, focus on optimizing organization business strategy and IT investment. Number 8, wherever possible, standardize common application across organization and use off-the-shelf software. Number 9, use consistent and methodical processes when consolidating or re-engineering system or services. Number 10, make the help desk effectiveness priority. Number 11, ensure that IT cost and cost recovery methods are transparent and clearly communicated. Number 12, use project management, change management and project review process. Number 13, consider service level agreement SLAs and formal contract between Number 13, consider service level agreement SLA, a formal contract between IT department and the organization, and report on performance metrics specified in the SLA. Apply principle found in IT best practice guides. Number 15, use policy, procedure and clear authorities to manage the change. Number 16, clearly define the scope of an enterprise resource planning. Number 17, develop strong and broad staff competencies. Number 18, manage computing assets. 19, recognize customer as an important resource. And number 20, measure performance and use the result to initiate improvement change. Okay. Now let's move to the last topics. Developing system, operational and departmental documentation. System documentation. System documentation includes the documents that support analysis, decision making, acquisition and implementation process. It also addresses system features and functional and technical requirements. System analysis documentation includes the information gathered in the process of collecting, organizing and evaluating data about IT system requirement and the environment in which the system will operate. It also includes documents such as functional requirement, design specification, request for information and proposal, and related vendor responses. Also considered part of system documentation are procedure manual, computer program and machine operating manuals, details of standards, compliance and record of initial system testing process and result, for example data collection and input procedures. Operational documentation. Operational documents relate to ongoing systems, operations and maintenance. They include information about ongoing testing of systems and results, audit processes, database management, as well as training manuals. Operational documents also encompass implementation on time frames, flow charts, and progress reports, data backup and recovery procedures, and system retirement, tuning, and logistics support requirement. Department documentation. Departmental policies and procedure (P&P) help to guide the processes and action employees should use to perform their work and are essential for healthcare organizations to achieve various accreditation. A departmental or organizational policy formalizes what is expected or required of employees, among other things. A procedure document describes how an outcome to be accomplished. Therefore, policies and procedures serve two purposes. They set up performance requirements that can be used to motivate or discipline employee. And number second, they serve as ongoing reference for employees and orientation document for the new hire. In developing P&P, policy and procedures, following steps are useful. Identify a need, draft a policy or procedure that addresses the need, get management approval, distribute the approved document to employees and educate them on its contents, revise, replace, or withdraw the policy or procedure as needed, coordinate with human resource coordinate with human resources, corporate compliance or other areas when applicable. Departmental policy and procedure will address elements such as security, for example, access control, entity authentication, audit trail, data encryption, firewall protection, and virus checking. Privacy protection, definition of access rights, instruction for handling specific information and patient, and information retention and availability of medical information. In addition, communication of medical information, management of licensed software, handling of service requests, the IT strategic plan, and the IT budget should be addressed. It is also important to consider change management, project management, process improvement, development methods and standards, and copyright and ownership in department policy and procedure (P&P). Okay, that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found it helpful in preparation for CPHIMS exam.